Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that a lot of you have been asking about, and that is how we met.
Church!
It's like so simple, no. To help me tell the story, I brought in...
Meet Kevin.
So I'm 30 today, so 13 years ago I was 17. A science teacher at my school announced that he was putting together a 9-day European tour along with other students from my school.
And who doesn't want to go on a 9-day European tour?
That's what I thought.
After all, at the same time, I was 16, and my debate teacher was putting together a 9-day European tour. And
Convenient.
I'm like, who doesn't want to go on this?
Neither of us ever had a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I remember that. We were just like a blank slate of doing nothing. And yeah, going on
World of Warcraft. It's doing something.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
got a new one, Shadowlands just came
True.
out.
But, going on this trip, I definitely was not thinking or expecting to find somebody. It was definitely just for myself, so I never
If you went on it, that's some problems, because your parents are like, oh, yeah, 9-day European trip, good one.
Yes, I did have some problems going into it with my parents. One, the trip costs about $7,000 for this 9-day tour. Airfare, room, transportation, food, the whole shebang. Which, that's insane because I had just accumulated, after 2 years of working at my barista job, $7,000, which was very convenient that I had the money. I had 100% of the money that I had worked for.
But didn't you start working at like 15 and you'd go in at like 5 a.m. to do like 2 or 3 hour shifts before school?
Before school, yeah. I love that job.
Nuts.
That was fun. I loved it so much. It was a local coffee shop. But
oh, so that's how you snuck in at 15.
Yes.
Ah.
The second problem for me was convincing my parents to even let me go, let alone pay for it. I have chronic asthma, as some of you know, and let's just say that, my parents didn't know anything about, how European healthcare would work if something were to happen.
Basically, asthmatics clearly go to Europe to die.
Yeah, you just cannot survive in Europe if you're an asthmatic. And the second problem in convincing my parents to let me go on this trip was that they had just watched the movie Taken, which was so inconvenient, the timing. Literally when I asked, they had just seen the movie, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're definitely going to get abducted.
Yeah, bad timing.
So I had big hurdles to get over to go on this trip. It was crazy.
I had hurdles too, though. I mean, I had to ask my dad to let me go on this trip, and we had no money.
Yeah, you didn't.
But my dad did have a credit card, which is how we paid for that trip.
So frustrating, the huge contrast of how hard I worked.
Swipe.
Yeah. So after weeks of convincing my parents, they finally agreed to let me go, which I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing that could happen. Oh, and they agreed to pay for it for me, which I'm so thankful, so happy. And yeah, so before I knew it, I was heading to a 9-day European getaway that ended up just completely changing my life, our lives, really.
Both of ours.
Both of our lives. So the first stop was Paris, where we ended up getting our California group merged with a Canadian group and your, quote, Miami group, right?
Yeah, and the first excursion was a ride on a boat down the River Seine in downtown Paris.
It was really pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, and that boat is where Kevin approached me and showed me a picture of his cat. I remember that.
Yeah, that was my icebreaker. Seems kind of lame, but back then, when you had the iPhone 1 and you're like, check out a picture of my cat while I show off the iPhone 1, which has only been out for 6 months, which also was charged on a credit card.
Thank you, Daddy. I actually honestly didn't even think about the iPhone thing. I did like your cat, but the problem was when Kevin showed me the cat, I gave my honest answer. I said I like cats a lot. I'm just sadly highly allergic.
Yeah, and it's at this point that I'm like, well, I am dead in the water, because my icebreaker turned into her not noticing my phone and turned into her basically telling me she was deathly allergic to, well, the thing that I thought she might be interested in.
I'm so allergic that I can't even go into a cat house for 10 minutes before breaking out in hives, and my breathing becomes a problem. It's an issue. But yeah, despite that insane question, how could you ask that of me?
Should have known.
Yeah. Anyway, the next couple days, I actually didn't know if Kevin was interested in me or not. I was totally into you, but...
Well, how could you not?
I know. I had a little bit of a confusing thing happen because I had a friend that was on this tour with me from my group, and he was openly into guys. And you, Kevin, you were spending more time with him for the first couple days than with me. So I was getting major mixed signals. I didn't know if you were interested in me. Maybe I was just a friend and you were really interested in Ryan was his name. And yeah, so I didn't know. And I was like, who does he like? And honestly, Ryan didn't even know who you liked either. We were both very confused. But one day...
Maybe I just like both of you.
Maybe you like everybody.
Who says I was looking for a relationship?
But one day, we were in a small little town, I remember, and I was really hoping that Kevin would go walk around the little town with me.
Because everybody would always split up.
Yeah, in their own little like groups. But he asked Ryan to go get pizza with him at a pizza place. I'm like, that's it. I'm devastated. I thought for sure that Kevin's decision to go with Ryan meant that he was into guys too. And, I was just a friend on the side that he just like talked to sometimes. So I was like, totally sad. You wanted Ryan, that's it.
You were just somebody to show the iphone off to.
Yeah, right. Maybe you were indirectly showing Ryan the iPhone somehow because he was there too.
Did you see it, Ryan?
Yeah, I got an iPhone. So once we got back to our hotel that night, Ryan he came to my room and I was like naturally sulking a lot. But Ryan said, Lauren, he isn't into me. He asked me while we were at pizza if you had a boyfriend, and I told him that you didn't. And I was like, oh my gosh, dreams do come true. So I knew it then. But Kevin, tell me what your take was. What was your strategy with Ryan?
Trojan horse.
The Trojan horse. I didn't know.
Because remember, I'm in the Miami group, so it's like, how am I supposed to get into this insular group of like 5 girls that you were around? And my first attempted like blatant blunt force entry failed with the cat.
He didn't know that like he was giving mixed signals too. Like, so Ryan was like, what? And yeah, Kevin didn't know anything like that. So anyway, since that point, we were inseparable. And that teacher who coordinated this tour started to get a little concerned. My mom and dad actually talked a lot to this teacher, like numerous times, about my health condition and to like, quote, keep my daughter safe.
Don't bring her back any different.
Yeah, make sure she's safe and healthy. So being the responsible teacher this guy was, and seriously, I actually have no bad feelings about how he dealt with it.
He took it upon himself to make it a mission to make sure that you didn't come back changed.
He definitely, he created a wedge in our growing relationship.
Usually we like wedges.
Yeah, not in this case.
We didn't like this wedge.
Yeah, there's another like term for this that is a little...
C-block.
C-block, that may be it. But this teacher, he actually talked to me one time. I remember this. He pulled me aside and he literally told me like, quote, he wanted to return me the same way that I came on the trip or something like that. Basically meaning like you better not like lose virginity, which to me that was super offensive because I hadn't done anything to anyone before and I felt like I was
until that trip.
I felt like I was a really good girl and I knew that
was.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And yeah, I knew myself. He didn't know me because he was not my teacher, but I knew I wouldn't rush into anything like that. And on that trip, I think the most we did was kiss and type into Google how to make out.
Oh my God.
He didn't know how to, which we failed. We didn't even do that. But anyway, the teacher didn't know what I was or who I was or what I've done. But also, who says I haven't done that stuff is what I was bothered about too. I could have done everything and maybe I was coming back exactly the same if I had done more stuff. Anyway, this is me ranting. So yeah, Kevin, basically he had to sneak into my hotel all the time to hang out with me.
Yeah. There was even a point where the teacher came to inspect the room thinking I was in there.
Yeah.
And I climbed out on the balcony. But of course, he started heading to the balcony to go check the balcony. I think one of your girlfriends was also there and kind of like blocked the balcony.
Yes.
So I climbed off the balcony and kind of like hung off the side of it. And I saw he was coming, and then I ended up dropping myself down to the lower level, which the lower level was the patio of my debate teacher's room, and she was sitting on her bed, and she's like, Kevin!
I didn't know it was her room. What'd you say to her?
Can I go through, basically? Because I wanted to get back to my room.
See, this is the thing with Kevin is like, he's always been this way, so the teacher's just like, that Kevin doing weird stuff again. Sure, go on through.
Scaling the balconies.
Yeah. Didn't even like get you in trouble or anything because you were like right away back in my room soon after. We ended up, I remember too, in a hotel sneaking out while my teacher was on like a hike and going to like this like abandoned church that was across the street, and that's where we actually had our first kiss. So yeah, I remember asking you, I think after that first kiss, I was like, how are we going to make this work? Like towards the end of the trip, in these stories, usually, it just ends up being like a short memory that's kind of, there and gone. But we wanted to make this work,
We have
right?
a picture of that church, too.
We do. I have a picture of the view and of the church, and I have a little business card of the family-run hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, I have everything. So
That's pretty cool.
we ended up having a pretty long break from each other. I think it was 90 days that we had gone from that trip to the Memorial Day weekend that he came and visited me and my family. And after that trip, I felt like our relationship was just really cemented. And it was like, okay, this is something we're working towards, and it really means a lot to us. And yeah, after that, my parents actually invited Kevin to spend 40 days of that following summer vacation living with us in my house as well.
In your bedroom.
In my bedroom. So yeah, our long distance relationship went on for about an entire year. And at the end of that 1 year, I had to make a decision, because I am a year and a half older than Kevin, to start considering colleges to pick. And I had a really brilliant idea back in my 17-year-old brain that I could kill two birds with one stone and go to college in Florida to get my education, but also to be with my boyfriend. But when I told my mom this, she was like, oh, no. You don't go to a school for a boy. You go to a school for yourself, nothing to do with the boy. Better idea, have the boy come live with us. Let him finish up his high school, risk his life, not you, my darling daughter. And you can go to a local college while you wait for him to finish and graduate high school.
Right. Yeah, and that's literally what happened. I ended up moving to California. Kind of felt like I was starting over, because I left everyone I knew in Florida to hang out with Lauren and go to high school for my senior year in Ventura, California. So I came here and I'm like, oh, senior year starts now. I don't know anybody. During that first year, I worked at Jamba Juice. I did get a job. That helped pass the time. You worked at Mrs. Fields.
Mrs. Fields, yep. And you had a problem at Jamba Juice, though.
Well, yeah, I worked there for a year, and they gave me a 10-cent raise. I'm like, no.
So then you went to Red Robin. And then I went to Red Robin, too. But
I got you a job at Red Robin.
That's true.
And then you passed me up.
I did pass him, yep. I was offered a management position, and I declined because I was doing property management. Not to rub it in. So at the same time, though, we were working these jobs, but once it was kind of like, okay, this is going to only get us so far, we thought, okay, let's both get our real estate licenses at 18 so we could work together on doing real estate stuff. And the rest is history. You guys know what comes after. So
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this story on how we met. If you guys have any other personal questions for us that you would like us to make a video on, feel free to leave them in comments below. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Oh, and make sure to get 4 free stocks with Webull when you deposit $100 and get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. And check out the coupon code for the amazing courses down below.
Yes, all that. Bye.